I just remember something going through my head of, Cheyenne, you've got to fight for your life right now. Up. And my body just wouldn't do it. I felt weak. I felt like I couldn't move. It was like this person that I know so well, but at the moment didn't know at all. My name is Cheyenne McCallum, and I was drugged and raped by my mentor.
How long ago was this?
I would say it's been about 6 years.
And is this the first time you've talked about it?
I've talked to family, friends about it, and I've posted like on my social media a couple of times as far as like what happened to me, because I am in the middle of a process of covering a bunch of tattoos. And so, but this is my first time speaking, I guess, getting questioned.
How are you feeling right now?
Pretty nervous.
Yeah. What motivated you to say yes to coming here and sharing?
I find my story pretty powerful. I know that ever since coming out about this, I've talked to even just a handful of other women that have DM'd me, and not only have this happened to them, but by the same person. And so that was just kind of like a huge eye opener for me. Especially, it kind of blows my mind that the amount of people I talk to, and there's so many women, men, people out there that have been raped, and it's like every other person you see, and they have a story, and I just feel like I don't want pity. I don't want people to feel bad for me. I want to just be a voice out there for someone, even if it's just for them to be like, hey, like, your story touched me.
Can you share a little bit about how this all unfolded?
How it unfolded.
Yeah, like that relationship with that individual start, and how did it get to that point?
Yeah. That's a lot. I moved here to Texas, and I want to say it was 2015. It could have been 2014. I've been with my husband since 2015, so, and we met here. So I met this person from wanting to get into tattooing. He became my mentor. He became a really good friend to me, a brother. I looked up to him as a brother. He was never anything more than that. It was never anything sexual. It was never, not for me anyways. It was never anything like that. And so, yeah, it was kind of crazy that I looked up to him in such a brotherly fashion, and it came down to this.
Can you share about, I guess, let me ask you this. Did you have any, before the incident happened, was there anything along the way that started to give you any red flags or scared you or anything like that?
And I have thought about that too, because I tend to miss the red flags a lot. I've been in situations with just like friends, just stupid situations, and I'm like, how did I not see that red flag right there in front of me? And this one, really, even looking back, I'm trying to find where it was, what did I miss? And even if it was just us in the tattoo shop and we were by ourselves, it was still strictly like he had respect for me as far as I could see. There was never, not even the slightest bit of anything. I think there was time he made me upset a lot, but that was mainly because I was his apprentice. I was learning under him, and he was terrible with time management, terrible with his customers, and I was always the one that had to clean it up for him. And so that's another part that came in, as far as like I felt like he was a sibling, because he was always making me angry. And I'm like, this guy is just frustrating. But he was a great artist. I I was going after what I really wanted in life, and it was my dream to become a tattoo artist that potentially was going to travel the world.
Why did you want to become a tattoo artist?
Honestly, at a very young age, I became very intrigued by tattoos. I got my first one at 16. Um, wouldn't say I regret it, but I don't love it. Most of my tattoos at that age, I think I was just having fun. Um, but as far as being an artist, I've been an artist ever since I could probably walk, probably crawling. Art has always been my thing. Even today, I own a business that involves a lot of art, and so tattooing just really intrigued me. And the more I got into it, the more I was loving it.
You said that you had a dream to travel the world. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So the more I got into it, I'm from a really small town in North Platte, Nebraska, a tiny town, and that's when I really started getting into this. And I really kind of started my apprenticeship there, under another artist, until I moved here. And so, um, being from a small town, you don't see a lot. There's not a lot that goes on, and I didn't travel outside of like sports a whole lot, and so I just didn't know what was out there until I started getting more into it. And I remember going to my first tattoo convention, which is you go to this, I don't know if you've heard of like conventions with anything. It's similar, and so you go and there's tattoo artists and stations all over the place, and people who are world renowned go to these conventions, and it was just a really big eye opener for me. I was like, wow, there's a lot out there. And I started getting more into it, studying and looking at artists that are in different countries, and I found out that you can go and you can travel and apprentice under other artists outside of the country. And it was really part of my dream to become good enough to go and learn from artists that are in different countries and learn their culture.
Do you still do art, like tattoo art?
No, and I won't.
Why not?
Um, I so after my assault, oh, there's just a lot. That's a loaded question. Uh, my life got very dark. Um, to the point where, I mean, there's times I don't remember things that were happening. It's a lot of things I regret. There's a lot. I wouldn't say that I wish I could do different, because I feel that God puts us in situations for a reason. Um, but I just can't bring myself to do the thing that he taught me how to do. And I was getting good. I was getting really good at it. I mean, I was always booked. I had people from all over Waco that were wanting to schedule with me. And even after I stopped tattooing, even to this day, I get people that ask me when I'm going to go back. Like, hey, we'll be ready when you go back. And it's so hard because I know that I understand where they're coming from. At the same time, I just want to be like, I'm not going back, and I won't, and I don't want to. I have tattooed afterwards, and I tried to see if it was something that I would want to keep going with, but I just can't. It's too much. It brings back memories. It brings back too much for me that makes me unhappy. I think that's the bottom line. Is it doesn't make me happy anymore.
Sounds like a lot of the pain from this is losing something that you once loved. Can you speak to that? Just on how, obviously, I can't imagine, but being assaulted like that is so dark. Can you just speak to, for those who don't understand, or maybe those who've been in that similar situation, What's the worst part of walking through something like that?
Yeah. Um, there's definitely a lot to it, and sometimes I think about it, and I've never gotten, well, I can't say never. I haven't really got a whole lot of disrespect from people on the situation. Um, People are usually pretty supportive. There are those people on Facebook and whatnot that want to doubt and say that it never happened or, this or that. And I've gotten better at just kind of, saying, that's fine. I don't need to explain myself to you. And God knows what happened and God's here for me. Um, and, sorry, I'm trying to
It's okay.
think over the question.
This is a difficult.
Yeah, it is, and it is very dark. It is hard, and it is, but it's not that I don't want to talk about the things. I'm here because I want to. Um, and there's a big stigma around rape. Um, especially nowadays, and I do not judge anyone who wants to talk in their own way about it. Everyone will talk about their situation in a different way. For me personally, I don't like to downgrade what happened to me by saying I was SA'd or sexually assaulted. I will say that in sometimes, but I was raped. And I don't think that, I should ever downgrade that. I think if someone is uncomfortable hearing that, trigger warning,
Yeah.
I will respect other people's, how they feel.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm not a counselor, trauma informed person, or someone who's dealt with a lot of survivors, but I'm trying to engage for other, like, give this platform for you to share for other people to hear. So, what advice would you give to somebody who is curious and wants to just understand? What type of questions are you okay with people asking you?
I'm okay with all the questions, to be honest. I haven't come across anything where I was like, I'm not answering that. You could quite literally ask me anything and I'll answer it to the best of my abilities, knowledge, and whatever. But I think that that's another thing is there's so many people out there that haven't spoke up.
Yeah.
I know someone who did come to me in my DMs and the same thing happened to her with the same person, and she has not spoken up. She's afraid. And I understand that because I was afraid too. This didn't happen to me yesterday. It didn't happen to me last week. It happened about 6-7 years ago. And I just spoke up about it this year. I was terrified. I, for one, was in a relationship. I was with my husband. At the time, we were not married yet. We were dating. But we were together. And in my head, everything was going through my head. I just thought, he's going to leave me. My body was invaded by another man without my okay. And so, I'm damaged goods. Um, After something like that happens, I can't say this for everyone, but I mean, suicide goes through your head. I just went through a period of, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't know if I deserve to be here. Why would my boyfriend want to be with me after something like this just happened to me? And I get that feeling in my head of, is that considered cheating? And so it's a lot that goes through your head. It's heavy, and I feel for all the people out there that have struggled, are struggling with the same thing or something similar, because it is heavy and it's not something you're ever prepared for. You can listen to all the stories, you can watch all the movies, you can hear advice from other people. I can sit here and everyone listening, I can tell them all the things that I would change, all the things that I, whatever, but it just, you just never know it in that type of situation.
Mm. Can you share about that night, the incident, what happened?
Um, so I was tattooing. With tattooing, a lot of late nights come with that industry, especially on weekends. You work late into the night. So a lot of times, um, sometimes people want to go out afterwards and go drinking and partying and stuff, and just after a long night of work, whatever. That was never really me. I turned it down pretty much every single time. Every time if people wanted to go out, it's not my thing. I would like to go out every once in a while for just to hang out and a couple of drinks, but I'm not like a really heavy drinker, so it's just not really my scene. This time of my life is very foggy. My brain really just kind of went into that fight or flight mode, and tried to protect me from what happened. And so I try to talk about as much as I can remember. I cannot remember exactly if this was a weekday or weekend or how late it was, whatever. But at the time, I had agreed to go out to Trojans and hang out with some friends. To this day, I don't remember who I went with. I mean, I don't think I just went by myself. I cannot remember, but I do remember being there. I wanted just one beer. That's it, and I was gonna go home. I remember another one of my friends being there, saying hi to them, hanging out, and then he had walked in and said hi to him. All was normal, just saying hi to your friends, and he offered to get me a beer, and so I said sure, why not? And it just went downhill from there. I don't remember drinking even that whole thing. I had a couple sips of it. I even recently just asked someone the other person that was there, what they recall from that night. I said, hey, was I sloppy? Was I wasted? What was going on? And they said, no, I remember you having one beer. And they said, but you were acting off. You weren't acting yourself. You drank a little bit of that beer and you just seemed off. And they offered to give me a ride home. And then he ended up saying, no, I'm gonna I'll give her a ride home. And at that time, I don't remember. I was drugged. So everything's fuzzy. I apparently went with him. He took me to his house. I woke up the next morning, early morning. I think it was like 6 o'clock in the morning. With him on top of me. Yeah, I remember just being so confused. I've never been more confused in my life. Just that feeling of, and I don't do drugs. I didn't dabble in it in high school or college. It's not something that I was like, oh yeah, I'm on drugs right now. It's just, I can't even explain how I felt. I just remember something going through my head of, Cheyenne, you've got to fight for your life right now. up, and my body just wouldn't do it. I felt weak. I felt like I couldn't move. It was like this person that I know so well, but at the moment didn't know at all. I finally found the strength to move. I got him off of me, and he kept trying and forcing. I got away. I don't remember the exact words, but he was telling me, hey, you wanted this. You wanted to be here. You know, I think I remember yelling, screaming, I don't know. And he told me to keep my mouth shut. I found anything that I had with me, and I left. I got out of there. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know where I was at. I just remember my vehicle was there. He took my vehicle. I remember trying to get in my vehicle and just drive. I got home. And I just remember breaking down, just completely falling apart. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what just happened. Because in the moment, you don't think, oh my God, I'm getting raped. You just think, what is happening? And, he did put it in my head. Did I want this? Did I put myself in this situation? But I didn't know. I couldn't figure it out. I was shaking, crying. He texted me and said, hey, can you come back? Can we work this out? Can we just try again? And I just remember thinking, what in the world are you talking about? And yeah.
You talked about being in a really dark place after this. How did you make it through this?
I don't know. I lost touch with God. I think I lost touch with everything, with reality, with myself. Like I mentioned, I had that feeling of just being worthless. I feel that sexual contact is such a it's an intimate thing, and it's special, and it's, you should be 110% okay with what is going on with the person you're with. And for that to happen when it's being forced on you, who knows how many times, when I didn't even realize it until the next morning, it just, it makes you question, where was God? Where was he when I needed him? And I think back sometimes and I'm like, why couldn't I have been stronger? Why couldn't I have fought? Why did I just walk out of there without, like, hitting him with something, I go through so many stages of emotions of just pure anger. And I wish I would have, all the things, like, you always think, I wish I would have done this. I wish I could have done this different. If I would have gone to the hospital right afterwards and done a rape kit, that could have been my evidence, but I didn't. And I can't say that, man, I wish I could have gone back and done that. I, wish this and that, but I think God puts us in these situations, and he didn't put me in that situation, but um things happen for a reason, the way that they happen. And I think that my story will hopefully, I know it has helped people. And if I had to go through what I went through for that, then that's okay with me, because I am incredibly strong now. I would like to say I'm healed. I cry because it is hard. And thinking back to what happened, it's heavy. And I have a daughter. I have a son. And thinking of if that were to ever happen to them, it's scary. I can't say that there was anything that got me through the years after this happened, because honestly, I was just surviving. I didn't tell a soul. I did not tell a soul until this year. Not my mother, not a sister, not my best friend. No one knew but me. And that is heavy. That is carrying something like that, let me tell you. I don't recommend it. But ever since letting it out, it's just almost that feeling now of like, I just want to let it all out. Just letting it out feels good. It feels better. The first person I told was my husband. Telling him, gosh, that was probably one of the hardest things I've done other than going through this. I had to work myself up to it. I mean, I cried all day, and I had to accept that anything could happen. He could walk out the door. He could leave me. Could take my kids. And I had to accept that. But the moment I told this man, he held me, and he loved me, and he accepted me how I am. And I think ever since then, it was just such a weight lifted off my shoulders, because now that I know how he feels about it, I don't care how anyone else feels about it. And ever since then, it's just been a huge healing journey. It's insane how much God has put in my path. It's brought me to 1510. And I didn't realize that there could be such a big community.
Tell me about 1510. What is that?
So CrossFit 1510. I've been doing CrossFit for a few years now, and I've been to multiple different ones. Just whenever we move, try to find a different one. And I was at a previous one, just wasn't happy there anymore. And God was really just like tugging at me. I just felt so many different things, and it wasn't a specific, hey, Cheyenne, you need to do this or whatever, but I just kept feeling so much, and I was like, I've got to find it. I've got to find what it is that he's telling me. And it's crazy. My mother-in-law even told me that I should try 1510 at one point, and I was like, no, I think that's a Christian-based CrossFit. I don't know if I'll fit in there. She's like, why don't you try it? I'm like, I don't know. I have tattoos, and I'm flawed. I don't know if I'll be accepted. And wow, I was not ready to cry this much. My first day at 1510, it was like I walked in and I was just like, I felt at home. which is not normal for me. Anyone who knows me knows that I don't like to go out. I don't even like going to the store. I get anxiety very easily. I don't like new places. It gives me, I have a hard time, especially after my incident. But I walked in and it was just such a huge relief. I felt at home. I felt I could be mom, no matter what I look like, and no matter what I've done or what I've been through. And it only got better from there. I mean, I think it was Chris, her, and I want to say it was Drew. They asked if they could pray for me. And I was just, I didn't even know how to respond. I've never been asked if someone could pray for me. That was huge. That was really big. And I think, I got to the point of feeling too comfortable because I let it all out to Drew. I told him everything, my story, and I'm pretty sure he was just like, calm down. It's okay. I love that place and everyone. I've never had a moment of doubt there. I think it's a place where even if I'm having a bad day, if I don't want to work out, I'll still go because just the atmosphere of everyone there is incredible. And even when I was going through just the deep part of my rape, and I did report it. I was with a detective and everything, and going through that, and I had days where I told you, hey, I need to come in, I need to work out, and I'm not trying to sound terrible or rude, but I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to, can I just do my thing? He said, you do what you need to do. And so, yeah.
What do you think it is that makes that gym so much different than other places you've been?
A lot. For starters, I've become a way better athlete for one being there. I don't consider myself like a great CrossFitter. I joke about it all the time too, and Drew gets on to me. Because I don't think I'm that great, but I'm way better than I used to be. I know that I'm way stronger. I'm really loving it. I don't get injuries every other day like I used to, and I feel like that has a lot to do with the coaching and how much our coaches just deep dive into every little thing. I cannot thank them enough for how much they've worked with me on movements, and I've discovered so many things that I was doing wrong with CrossFit, and so that's helped a lot. But not only that, it's just, and I try to think of what other people might think of 1510 as well, almost how I was before I went, because I was thinking, they're Christian based, and so they're probably all perfect, and I'm not. And it's crazy how much I've changed. The way I think is just so much different than when I started. So I think, people are probably still thinking that, but, you can look like me, be tattooed, you can be flawed, you can not be perfect, and you can go there, and no one's going to judge you. You're not going to stand out. I have never once felt like I stood out just because I thought I was going to. Even though I like the attention. I ever since being a little girl, I mean, I did dance and all the things, and I loved being on stage, so, you're not going to get judged. It's such an amazing place, and it's not like you walk in and they're just like, oh, hallelujah. let's all pray now. Like it's not weird. I promise it's not weird. But if you want to pray, we will pray. You know, it's comfortable. It's somewhere that I would stay living here for this gym.
Wow.
I am comfortable bringing my kids there. I don't feel like they're ever in the way. I don't feel like they annoy people. It's somewhere that I hope eventually they'll start working out there too. Yeah.
Um, what encouragement would you give to someone who was in your shoes just a few years ago?
When I was like
Carrying it
in the really
alone,
dark place.
carrying it alone and holding it all in that place.
Yeah. Whew. Um, that kind of goes back to where I said we all think of the what ifs or what could I have done or stuff like that. And so I don't think I would ever tell someone, hey, make sure you do this, or like you if this were to ever happen to you, you have to do this. You have to go to the police, you have to go to the hospital, whatever. The way I see it is you have to feel your feelings. You have to go through your journey. You have to go through what you're going through and just know that God loves you. He's there for you. Even when it's your darkest day, even when you are ready to attempt to take your life, God's still there. He's got to be there. I have attempted. I did have a failed attempt. And, you know, thinking back, I'm like, wow, my life got that bad. Because now, I mean, I could not imagine taking my own life. Like, I have these 2 beautiful babies to live for, a wonderful husband. And, you know, even without them, if you think you have nothing, if you think you have no family, maybe you don't have kids, you're still important. You're still worth being here. And just know that there's always someone to talk to. Don't ever be afraid of reaching out. You know, if you don't know me and I'm the only person you can think of and you're going through something, please, I'll always be there, because I know all the stages of anger, grief, failure, self-doubt, all the different things, and it is hard, but you can get through it. You just have to try.
Well, thanks for coming in. I appreciate you.